I'm going to make a statement that might shock some of you, but I will say it and then I will spend the next few moments trying to defend it. Squid Game, in my opinion, is the best show that I have seen in these pandemic times. So if you want to say the last, 18 months, whatever it's been, by far the best show. It is Squid Game, enter, and then a whole bunch of other things. Now, if you haven't caught Squid Game fever, now is the time. I was late to the party. This show came out mid-September. So mid-September for me is the end of TIFF, going into Keith's birthday season. So I wasn't paying attention to what was happening on Netflix. This is a show that dropped then. I had the opportunity of seeing it about a week and a half ago, and I am obsessed. Obsessed to the point where I just want to have conversations with people about it. Obsessed to the point where, with Halloween around the corner, if some kid shows up in a Squid Game costume, they're getting all the candy. I love this show. Now, at its core, this show is basically about a group of people who owe money to a variety of different people. They're non-related people. They're just a little over 400 people that have been selected that owe money. It could be to debt collectors. It could be to loan sharks. It could be to whoever. They just owe money. And I am not talking like homeless people necessarily. I am talking, it could very well be your neighbor who looks like they've got everything together, but you don't realize that they're drowning in debt. These people are basically invited to an opportunity to take part in an array of children's games. Sounds pretty good. A little duck, duck, goose, a little ring around the rosy. But here's the thing. On the one hand, if they win, they get to go away with billions of dollars. But if they lose, they get killed. Now, there are people who have concerns with this show in regards to a couple of things. First of all, I've heard people are concerned because it's a Korean show. So it's either you have to consume it. If you don't speak Korean, you have to either consume it with subtitles or it being dubbed. Not really a big issue, but for some people, that's like a dead stop. Okay, can't really talk to that audience. I don't know what to tell you. There's a lot of great things out there that are subtitled, and if there's the dubbed option as well. But then there are people that are concerned with the violence. And what I will say to you is that there are much more violent things out there. This isn't like Saw or Hostel. It's not like a torture porn type of thing. It is basically the same type of violence that you would see in most summer blockbusters, if I'm being honest with you. It's nothing that I don't think the average audience couldn't take. I wouldn't recommend this for children, but at the same token, to each their own. Now, these people are summoned together to play in a variety of different games. And it's very interesting because then we start to see how these people start treating each other and the dire situations that they're in. Now, what I love about this show, one of the things that I love about this show is that it has a subtle, maybe not so subtle commentary on society and how we treat each other. And it also examines so many different aspects of life. I don't want to give things away, so I'll just kind of try to keep it as vague as possible. The writing in the show is absolutely brilliant. I was just blown away by it because you watch the show and then it really demands a second viewing because you go back and you see all of the little Easter eggs, if you will, that you missed the first time around. All the little subtle things that were there, like in plain sight that we just most of us missed as an audience. Now, somebody said to me, they said, would you compare this to like a Tiger King? And at first that's kind of funny, not, trying to be disrespectful to Tiger King, but I look at similarities and I look at differences. Similarities in that when Tiger King came out, it was close to the start of the pandemic. We were all home and everybody was captivated by this crazy group of characters, and we learned so much. Didn't realize that, there were so many groupies in the tiger world. Didn't realize that there was so much, underhandedness, and don't understand how Carol Baskin's still walking around when we're pretty sure she killed her husband. But at the same token, I wasn't saying, oh my God, the writer was so deep. It was so, all the Easter eggs. It wasn't like this deep intellectual thing. It was more like a train wreck, if I'm being honest with you. It was like you took all of the crazy reality TV that we've seen before, remixed it, threw it out, and we got Tiger King. And yes, people were watching it, people were consuming it, and I will still say to this day, the filmmaker of that show was very fortunate to be where he was, to see all the things he did. The timing was just ridiculous. That being said, I didn't walk away from Tiger King thinking, oh my gosh, this is one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. This is just fantastic. No, but I'm absolutely saying that with Squid Game. And I have seen over the course of these pandemic times, shows like Ozark, shows like Cobra Kai, shows like Kingdom, shows like Yellowstone, all of which I think are fantastic shows. I just think Squid Game is on another level. This is a show that I think needs to be discussed, needs to be appreciated, needs to be analyzed. It isn't a fluke that this is #1 on Netflix in over 90 countries, and that it's like the most watched show. Now, a lot of times we can equate, we want to make a mistake and equate the number of views or box office with it being great. So, for example, Avengers Endgame, biggest box office movie of all time. I've never submitted for you it's the greatest movie of all time. And I'm not submitting for you that Squid Game is the greatest show of all time. That would be recency bias. What I am saying is it's the greatest show that I've seen in the last year and a bit. This show just absolutely blew me away. For somebody like myself who doesn't tend to watch a lot of TV, watching this, I'm just like, I just want to keep watching it. I actually noticed the other day that we've got so many different variations of like different TV shows like Chicago Hope, Chicago Med, and all this stuff. And now we're bringing back the old CSI gang. And I'm like, where is the originality? If you're like me and you're looking for something original and something fantastic, jump into Squid Game. I'm giving this show an A+. It is absolutely, completely, and utterly brilliant. I will probably come back in a couple of weeks with a spoiler-filled review of it. So if you haven't seen it, don't watch that video in a couple of weeks. But hopefully in a couple of weeks, you will have seen it by that time. And just kind of break down, I'll do like a top 10 things that I absolutely love about Squid Game and continue to defend my thesis of why Squid Game is by far the best show that I've seen in these pandemic times. If you have seen Squid Game, send me a message. I want to chat with you about it and talk to you about how much I love it. And if you think I'm crazy and it's not that great, let's have a conversation that way as well. CFL_fan on Twitter, Facebook.com/WheatyWhittier and WheatyWhittier.com. Thank you so much for checking this out. Until next time, take care.